I've never met a rich person who did not value time. And frankly, I've never met a poor person who did. That was a quote that I heard in the last week, and it caused me to pause. I thought to myself, interesting. I've never met a wealthy person who didn't value time, nor a poor person who did. Quite an interesting idea. Time. It's allocated to us the same way. When I hear a person say, I need better time management, I know that really what they're talking about is time allocation, because time is already managed for us. There are, for each of us, 60 seconds in 1 minute. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. There are 24 hours in 1 day. There are 7 days in a week. There are from 28 to 31 days in a month. There are 12 months in a year, so forth and so on. You get the idea. But what I'm expressing here is that time itself is already managed. And it is managed equally, regardless of your life experience, your last name, who your parents were or weren't, your socioeconomics, your educational level. Regardless of how much money you have, you can't buy another day. It doesn't feel sorry for you and therefore give you more minutes in an hour because you're really working hard or trying hard. That part is already done. So what is really being spoken of is the idea of time allocation and how yours is used. And it turns out that this is what truly makes the difference in you winning and you losing, achieving and not achieving at its most basic level can be explored through time allocation. And so in this episode, we'll explore the power of focus and the detriments of distractions. Because how you allocate your time represents the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of your life and how you realize or express your potential. The gift of focus is that it empowers us to make the most of our time and our abilities, enabling us to achieve our goals, fulfill our potential, and create meaningful impact in our lives and in the lives of others. But then there are those distractions. And those distractions deter. And over time, they can actually lead to a lack of fulfillment, a lack of joy. And so as we explore that in this episode of Unmuted, what I want you to really consider is when you look back over the last day, you look back over the last week, the last month of your life, and ask yourself, where did the time go? As my beard gets more and more gray, I find myself oftentimes reflecting on younger days and how quickly it seems that time has passed. And I'm sure you can relate to that. And oftentimes I wonder, like, where did the time go? When I look at Sterling, or I look at my son Tarian, so, where did the time go? It seems like just yesterday. I was sharing with my cousin a little bit earlier that, man, watch what I tell you. The time will seemingly go so fast. If we're fortunate enough to remain alive, the time that you have will go so fast. And the worries that you see or experience currently will seem frivolous, trivial, like really no meaning whatsoever in short order. And so we'll explore then like some common roadblocks to the I almost said management, to the allocation of your time, and see if by the end of the episode you treat it with greater respect, that you cherish it and you honor the time that you've got. Some of the common roadblocks to remaining focused include you got external distractions. These can include interruptions from, like, your peers, or phone calls, emails, social media notifications, or like just being in a noisy environment. There are the one of the challenges to your focus is that of external distractions. But there are also internal distractions. And internal distractions are, they arise from within ourselves, such as like wandering thoughts or like daydreaming. Another big time waster is worry and other personal concerns that occupy our minds. Another roadblock to your focus is a lack of clarity. When we lack clear goals or a defined direction, when we're not clear about what our purpose is and where we're headed, it becomes challenging to stay focused, because without an understanding without a clear understanding of what needs to be accomplished, it gets easy to become distracted or engaged in non-essential tasks. See, when you're not clear about what your purpose is, then someone else's priority now you take on as yours. Someone else's emergency, you take it on as your own. Another big detriment to focus is this idea of being able to multitask. Attempting to juggle multiple tasks simultaneously it can hinder focus and productivity. Switching between tasks frequently can actually lead to mental fatigue and reduced effectiveness. So you might look through your day and say, man, I don't have the energy to complete all that is being asked of you. And it may be because you have siphoned off energy to too many different things over the course of a day. The feeling of overwhelm, another big one. But one of the huge detriments to focus, catch this, is a lack of boundaries. See, when you don't establish boundaries, whether with friends and family, or co-workers, or whether it be personal or professional, when you don't establish boundaries, when I don't establish boundaries, then interruptions and distractions occur more frequently, and it disrupts the focus. So if you're a person who you answer every time the phone rings, or you respond immediately to every notification, the message that gets sent, what gets conveyed, is this idea that you're always accessible. And I assure you that an individual who is always accessible is not destined for a life of truly achieving greatness, because it requires on our part. It requires a willingness to say no to things in order to have the yes life that you are capable of experiencing. And if you never get to the place where you have a relationship with the word no, then greatness is not in your forecast. A lack of energy, burnout, a lack of motivation or interest. Then also technology dependency. All of these things actually vie for our attention, and unknowingly, or maybe we're not conscious of it, but it is a barrier to our focus. Think about some of the descriptions we have for those who are super achievers. These individuals are sometimes called workaholics. They're referred to as being obsessed, maybe creatively obsessed. They get feedback like, man, all you think about is work. That's all you do. And what's happening is because that level of discipline, that level of focus, that level of intentional and purposeful living is so uncommon that those who aren't in that group look for a way to label it, which is merely a justification for their reasons why not. And I don't tout a life of only work, but I assure you that, I've oftentimes had clients who express, well, I would like to start the business. I want to grow the business, but I want to be there. I want to be there for my children. I got to be there for them. And I am a testament to this idea that particularly with my youngest son, most of his life, I was on the road. Most of his life, I was on the road. And was there guilt involved with that? Absolutely. Are there things that I missed that I wish I could get back? Absolutely. But more importantly than that is in my conversations with him now he'll be 20 this month. My conversations with him now are he was able to witness and see what purposeful living looked like, and he wants to model and emulate that. That's a much better gift. So I can attest to the fact that your children can stand. They can stand if you were to miss a game. Maybe not miss all the games, but if you have to miss a game because you are on purpose and you are in the process of building. And I get that this topic may not be popular for some, and that's okay. That's okay. But understand that I've seen it. I've seen it in working with people where oftentimes their family, and more precisely their children, become the justification, the excuse, the reason why they're not fully locked in and tapped in to expressing and fully experiencing the fullness of who they are and what they're capable of. Their children get the blame. I've seen it happen a lot. And so this idea of time management, we're going to set that aside and look at time allocation. And I've often said that I know what you value by what you schedule. I know what's important to you by what you give time to. So when you speak, if a person speaks of being an entrepreneur or building a business, but they don't allocate time to it, then it's not important enough to them. Same goes with family, relationships, and so forth. What you value, you'll give time to. What you value, you'll invest time with. So if it is true that our greatest asset is our time, it is the thing that is continuously running. And I encourage people, whatever you're going to do, right, make sure that you love it and it's fulfilling and it's joyful, because in essence, you are exchanging a day of your life for it. You are exchanging a day of your life. So there are these roadblocks to you staying focused, and they include external and internal distractions, a lack of clarity, this idea or misconception of multitasking, procrastinating or putting off important things because you don't feel like doing it. But mostly it's a lack of boundaries. A lack of boundaries is destroying your focus, and it is impeding your progress. Now, we say, okay, well, what then is the true like power and gift of focus? I remember this analogy of a magnifying glass, and a magnifying glass, one that you hold, like think, Inspector Gadget, right? Look at things. I actually, in my home now, I have a magnifying glass. When I don't feel like putting my glasses on, I use that magnifying glass because I don't know what happened at age like 40 something, but like my eyesight and I stopped enjoying reading until someone suggested, hey, get some reading glasses. And oh man, I started loving reading again. I didn't even realize the pain that it was causing and how uncomfortable it was to read because my eyes were bad. Now that's a bit of a tangent, so let me get back. But so I have a magnifying glass in my home. But what is amazing is, now it's been super hot. Super hot. No, I made a joke on Facebook recently. I said this could not have been the heat that my grandmother, when we'd be staying with her, would say, "Go outside and play in." It couldn't have been this type of heat where we were encouraged to go out and play. It's been hot. So beyond sunburns, though, but notice how we can walk underneath that sun, basically all day and not be burned to a crisp. But if I take a magnifying glass and hold that magnifying glass, if I take a magnifying glass and I hold that magnifying glass on, in one spot, it could cause a fire through using the energy from the sun. See, the true power and gift of focus, it lies in its ability to unlock your full potential, enhance your productivity, and bring forth achievements that are remarkable. I say often, it is in you to be great. It is in you to be powerful. It is in you to be extraordinary. But what's required is a level of discipline and focus held for a long enough period of time for you to truly experience it. More people aren't successful. More people are not as successful as they could be because they cannot do a simple thing for a long enough period of time. They get distracted too easily. But when we are truly focused, we can direct our attention and direct our energy towards a specific task or goal, and we channel our effort in a purposeful and concentrated manner, like that magnifying glass held in one spot. Like, this is where I am, and I'm just, I'm going to tell you the truth. There is a level of obsession that is required in order for you to tap into what you're capable of. It will require a level of obsession for a period of time. And people may call you crazy, and they may say that that's all you think about. And they may, have criticisms and remarks about, well, that's all you think about. It's all you talk about. It's all you do. Understand that that is a requirement for greatness, is obsession. You got to lose yourself in it for a period of time. I'm just telling you the truth. It is required of you to lose yourself in it. When you do so, right, if you can do it for a long enough period of time, here's some of the things that you're going to see. One of the things you're going to see is enhanced productivity. Because focus allows us to eliminate distractions and concentrate on the task at hand. So when you immerse yourself fully in what you're doing, you work more efficiently, you see progress sooner, and you'll accomplish more in less time. You're going to see also improved performance. Now, improved performance happens. Why? Well, when we are focused, our performance improves significantly because we're directing our attention and our efforts towards a specific goal versus being scattered all over the place. We can tap into our skills, our knowledge, our creativity, and it leads to higher quality of outcomes and better results because you're locked in versus piecemeal here and there. It's like, sprinkling and spreading it everywhere. We zero in, we lock in on a particular outcome. It's one of the reasons why the subject of goal setting is so popular in personal development, because along the way, the greats have uncovered that locking in on a particular idea, a particular outcome, now we channel all of our energies. We channel all of that, kind of like the magnifying glass, or focused in. We channel all of our energies to a particular outcome, and it will get done a lot sooner, a lot quicker, a lot faster than being spread about. It's also true that when we're focused and when we're locked in, it heightens our learning and our skill development. By focusing on a specific area of study or skill, we can deepen our understanding and our expertise because we're not entertaining all of the things on the periphery. Okay. And so because we do that, we acquire new knowledge, we develop new abilities, and we continuously improve ourselves. And because we're seeing that improvement in ourselves, we're improving, we see greater progress in a faster amount of time. Now, right, we're more encouraged, we're more enthusiastic about it. One of the things that becomes a distraction is when we focus too much on the outcome. We're so focused on it, but not recognizing that we're scattered about. We focus on it. We don't see the progress we want in a fast enough time. That leads to discouragement. A big one also for, benefit and gift of focus and knowing where you're and how you're using and investing your time is strengthened discipline and resilience. Like the ability to maintain focus requires discipline and the willingness to resist the distractions, particularly early on, particularly when it's a new muscle for you. Like saying no to the social interaction, ignoring the phone call, ignoring the notifications, turning on do not disturb in the middle of the day. Like FOMO is real, that fear of missing out, right? It's real. But have you noticed like in certain groups and circles that you could disappear for a while and return, and when you return, the same stuff is still happening? It's as though, you didn't really miss much. See, so oftentimes we get so concerned about leaving people when the reality is you could go and get yours done, and when you come back, they're going to still be in that same place. And maybe they don't even know that you ever left. Heightened creativity. Because focus allows us to tap into our creative potential. By immersing ourselves in a specific project or idea, we can explore the various perspectives, and we are able then to connect the dots and unleash our imagination, leading to innovation and original ideas, original thought. If you would give yourself the gift of time alone, to explore your thoughts, to explore your belief structures, to explore your own ideas, you wouldn't have to quote people so much, because you'll be able to see that your life experiences, when given the gift of time with yourself, you're able to connect the dots to your life experiences and be able to inspire and move individuals who connect with what you've experienced and been through yourself. Also, like being, time allocation leads to improved relationships and connections. Because you're not so busy being all things to all people, in those relationships that you're actually in and present for, That focus helps you to be fully present with others, listen attentively, and engage in meaningful conversation. By giving your undivided attention, we deepen the connections and foster stronger relationships. The people in my life know that, man, he really doesn't like to deal in the triviality. Now, I like to have a good time. I like having fun, but I am not one that will constantly entertain trivial conversations, because it's really like, it's like, what's the point, right? So what's the point? Okay. So we're not talking time management, it's time allocation. And I want you to have a life where it's like, where you're not asking yourself, well, where did the time go? You know exactly where it went because you allocated it to those things that are important to you and that matter the most. I was listening to an interview that Jay-Z was giving, and the interviewer asked him, I'll paraphrase, but it was essentially, what would you say is the key to your success? And Jay-Z, he really didn't have an answer. So, well, I mean, and the guy's like, come on, you got to have somebody. And so Jay-Z he flipped it around, and he said, well, let me ask you this. So the guy had asked him, what is the key to your success? And he hemmed and hawed a little bit. And then Jay-Z turned the question. He said, well, let me ask you this. What did you do yesterday? What did you do yesterday? And the guy was kind of confused, and he said, well, I mean, I don't know. What do you mean? What I do? What did you do? And now the guy is like, well, I mean, I worked. I did. He said, okay, now, so what did you do last week? Like last week, what did you do? And same kind of response. And then it went to, I believe it went to a month. So in the last 30 days, what have you done in the last 30 days? What did you do in the last 30 days? And now the guy is he's kind of uncomfortable. And he's like, well, I mean, like, what are you getting at? And Jay-Z, and I'll never forget this, he said, I can tell you exactly what I did yesterday, over the last month. I can tell you exactly what I did in the last year, every day. The last 365, I can tell you exactly what I did. And I believe that that is the key to my success. I know what I'm doing with my time. I know where my time goes. And now the guy's like, whoa, I mean, that's not, it's now, as you hear that, that sounds a little obsessed, right? Sounds a little wild. Sounds a little wild. And he said, and what I did may have included vacation with my family, but that's scheduled in, that's time in. But I know, and this is still, Jay-Z's, I know what I do with my day. I know where my time goes. I know where my time goes. And that is the key to my success, is I can tell you where my time is spent. And I listen to that, and I'm like, whoa, I can't tell you what I did. I can't tell you what I did in the last couple of hours sometimes. Much less the last week. Where did my time go for the last year? Where did my time go? So give that a shot. Give that a shot this week, to really look at how your time is allocated, not on what you say is important, but you first determine what is important and then put your time in those places and see what types of results you experience. It may be the thing that gets you over the hump. Time allocation and eliminating distractions through setting boundaries and falling in love with focus. That creative obsession. It's what makes it fair. It really is. It's simple. It's kind of fundamental. But when you consider rich or poor, male or female, gay or straight, educated, uneducated, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of culture, regardless of background. Time is the same. And leadership is what you do with it. I often hear people want to get a handle on how they allocate their time and remain focused. I took some blows this week, body blows, and it knocked me off. I had to regain my footing. So how do you handle the unexpected? What happens when you're just moving along, you're floating along and building momentum, and it seems that everything is like working and it's coming together exactly as you had hoped, and then boom, you get blindsided. What happens then? That's the resilience key that I talk about so much and so often. But it's inevitable. And in those times where you're challenged, what you give your time to, not just the external distractions, but internally, what consumes your thoughts? Is it of worry or is it of creativity? Is it in the present moment? Is it filled with regret? How do you handle it? I hope this helps. I went to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT for a story, an allegorical story that speaks to focus over distractions and the allocation of time. Here's what it came up with. I think it's pretty cool. It says, once upon a time, in a bustling village, there lived a young and ambitious painter named Lily. Lily had a dream to create a masterpiece that would captivate the hearts of all who beheld it. She longed to immerse herself in her art, but the village was filled with distractions that threatened to derail her focus. One day, while walking through the village, Lily stumbled upon an old wise sage sitting under a magnificent tree. And intrigued, she approached the sage and poured out her heart, expressing her struggle to stay focused amidst the distractions of the village. And the wise sage listened attentively and smiled kindly. "Dear Lily," he said, "let me share a story that just might inspire you." He began. Once there was a butterfly who had a burning desire to reach the peak of a majestic mountain. The mountain was known for its breathtaking views and serenity. However, the journey was fraught with distractions as the butterfly had to navigate through various flowers, each more colorful and enticing than the last. The butterfly knew that to reach the peak, it had to resist the allure of the flowers and stay focused on its ultimate goal. It reminded itself of the beauty it would witness at the mountain's peak, the sense of accomplishment it would feel, and the inspiration it would bring to others once it reached the peak. But it had to navigate all the distractions. As the butterfly fluttered past each flower, it encountered a different distraction. Some flowers whispered sweet promises of comfort and indulgence, while others beckoned with their vibrant hues. But the butterfly stayed true to its purpose, reminding itself of the greater beauty that awaited. With unwavering focus, the butterfly continued its ascent. It faced challenges along the way, strong gusts of wind and sudden storms that threatened to throw it off course. But it persisted, fueled by its determination and the vision of the mountain's peak. Finally, after a long and arduous journey, the butterfly reached the summit. It marveled at the breathtaking panoramic view, the tranquil stillness, and the sense of fulfillment that washed over it. In that moment, the butterfly knew that its persistence had paid off. Lily listened intently, her heart filled with hope and inspiration. The sage smiled at Lily and said, "Dear Lily, like the butterfly, you too can overcome distractions and stay focused on your artistic journey. Keep your vision clear. Remind yourself of the beauty you seek to create, and let that be your guiding light amidst the distractions of the village. With determination and focus, you will create the masterpiece that resides in you." With renewed determination, Lily thanked the sage and returned to her art. Every time distractions beckoned, she would remember the story of the butterfly and recommit herself to her artistic vision. And just like the butterfly, she soared to new heights, creating a masterpiece that touched the souls of all who beheld it. My question to you: what is the masterpiece that your life is creating? What is the masterpiece that your life is painting? And when distractions arise, are you committed enough to your masterpiece and to the lives of those who will be inspired by what you created? Recognizing that on that journey, you will be pulled. Other things, other people will look to get your attention. You may be enticed to indulge. But remember your vision. Remember what you've seen and the promise of standing at the peak of the mountain. For then there will be those who are inspired by the resilience that you used to get to the top. I hope that helps. If it does, don't keep it a secret. Let someone know that this podcast does exist. I want you to be a part of my mailing list. Full disclosure, I need email addresses. Why? Because growing a brand on another platform makes me always subject to the rules of that platform. I'd like to stay in touch with you. I'd like to be able to reach you directly when there are offerings. And so if you would write me an email, info@courtlandwarren.com, info@courtlandwarren.com, or you can go to courtlandwarren.com, download the free ebook on Kaizen, and that'll put you as part of our email list. I'd greatly appreciate it. But only if this is of value to you, only if this is of value. That said, I appreciate you, and I want to continue to be of service and of value. Thank you for the opportunity to do so. Know where your time goes. It is one of the distinctions of achievement and non-achievement. We'll see you next time.